Hi guys, I'm Adam Wilborn from WhatCulture.
And I'm Andy Murray from WhatCulture, and coming up today I'm going to tell you all about the unlikely Raw newcomer set for a massive long-term push on the main roster. Going to tell you about this week's Raw rating, which was the lowest in history. We've also got some news about the Revolt, aka the Revival, appearing on Talk is Jericho, and Cody is promising some big surprises for tonight's episode of Dynamite.
Plus, it all kicked off yesterday on Scott Hall's Twitter. Zack Ryder has revealed whose fault it is that his 2011 push failed, and more details about what you can expect and Money in the Bank over the weekend have been revealed. This is the news.
So, let's talk about this Raw athlete who is supposedly getting a long-term push on the main roster. This comes to us from PW Insider, who of course are inside wrestling. You know they're inside wrestling because it's in their name. They live in it. Brendan Vink is the name that they're reporting here. So this is kind of interesting because Brendan Vink and Shane Thorne, they've been brought up to the main roster. They've been paired with MVP. They scored a surprising victory over Cedric Alexander and Ricochet on this week's Raw. Had a lot of people going, what the hell's going on here? Well, this would explain it, perhaps. The write-up here talks about how Vink was placed in Evolve. WWE wanted to build him up. Evolve has, of course, become something of a pseudo-developmental territory since coming under WWE's wing. But the ongoing global situation kicked in, and that prevented them from doing everything they wanted to there. So they brought him to the main roster. They're seemingly continuing on track, continuing on path, building the guy up. It is noted, however, that this is a long-term thing. They're not just going to click their fingers and suddenly Brendan Vink is headlining SummerSlam or whatever. They see this specifically as something like Braun Strowman in the Wyatt family. Vince is apparently looking at Brendan Vink and going, this is a long-term guy, slow burn, not going to strap him to the rocket just yet. We're going to take our time with this project, build him up slowly, which is, you know, really refreshing to hear, and it's nice to see that they're not just going to strap a guy all the way to the top way before he's ready. Let's see where this goes. He's got good size, he's charismatic, he seems like a pretty decent little wrestler. Anyone who's seen him on his time on the Australian Indies as Elliot Sexton knows his ability. MVP is a good manager if that's the route they want to go down because he's a great talker. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how this pans out.
I, for one, am so happy about this news. Like you said, he's just massive. His Twitter handle is literally at 6'5", so you can really know what you can expect and what probably first attracted Vince to him. But more importantly than how big he is, more importantly, arguably, than how talented he is in the ring, he's a bloody Australian, so I guess he gets a break out the accent.
There you go, baby. There you go. I wonder if they're going to pair him with the Iconics for some reason.
Oh, God, we can only hope. Hashtag bring back the Iconics. Yeah, I mean, it makes a lot of sense, really. And it's spin a wheel, to be honest, right now on Monday Night Raw, who they're going to push. And let's be honest, the pushes are lasting about 3 weeks. So watch him getting jobbed out by the end of May, probably. But yeah, it's understandable that they want to develop talent. And if they are going to develop talent and really push someone, it's going to be someone who's 6'5" and looks like Brendan Vink, basically. Yeah. I, for one, kind of hope that he gets a bit of a push and maybe gets a bit of a heel turn in there. So, Andy Murray, we can see the dark side of the Vink.
Gee whiz.
Anyway, day, baby. Should we talk about Scott Hall?
Yeah, please.
So you may have seen all this kicking off on Twitter yesterday. This has all been picked up by Wrestling Inc., thankfully, because half it's been removed because Scott Hall deleted his Twitter yesterday after a run-in, let's just say, with Session Moth Martina. Basically, Teddy Turnbuckle tweeted a picture of Razor Ramon saying, what comes to mind when you think of this man? And Session Moth Martina replied, he once offered to buy me a boob job on Twitter, but never followed through, emoji. Scott Hall responded to this in typical diplomatic fashion. You need a personality transplant, you dumb. And you can see the rest of that tweet right there. She responded, ha ha ha, ouchie mama, hashtag fancies Martina. And then Scott Hall deleted his Twitter, presumably because probably someone said, it's not a great look to just be calling someone that over Twitter for just having a bit of a joke. And Session Moth Martina finished it all off with a tweet that just says, do I do the accent, Andy?
Yeah, why not?
Never a boring night on the old Twitter box, eh? Cry laugh emoji. Everyone hashtag fancies Martina. Sorry, Session Moth Martina.
She's not Scottish.
I know, but I wanted to. When she said all, I just thought I'm going to do a Scottish accent.
Aye, go for it. I love it, man. This is exactly how I would expect a Twitter interaction between Scott Hall and Session Moth Martina to go. No surprises here whatsoever. Partly surprised that Scott Hall deleted his account after this, because he's just a man with zero chill. But yeah, I mean, this is just kind of like a fun, stupid little story to keep things light on this Wednesday morning, where we have to talk about Raw scoring the lowest rating of all time. Unfortunately, not a whole lot to really analyse here. I mean, we've said everything we can regarding the empty arena era and why these shows, why no one's watching the bloody things. But yeah, this week's was the lowest ever. 1.68 million across the 3 hours. The first hour was the second lowest in WWE history. The second and third were the lowest for those time spots. This is lower than the previous record of 1.78 million, Christmas Eve 2018. It's down from the previous week, obviously, because it's an all-time low. Andy, you dope. 0.46 rating in the demographic. It is what it is. We're probably going to see a few more of these over the coming weeks.
Yeah, I saw a great tweet this morning from friend of the channel, Hurricane Helms, who someone had tweeted him basically saying, well, surely it should be up. Everyone's stuck inside. Everyone is desperate for something to watch. People are staying up watching Korean baseball, for God's sake. And Hurricane just said, well, no, because it's just not the same without a crowd, is it? There's a reason why it's doing so poorly. And also, before you say, oh, you're just piling on Monday Night Raw and saying it's crap and what have you, I looked at the responses to Brian Alvarez's tweet on this last night, and people were showing the numbers for other TV shows. They're all down. They're all doing horribly. So yes, you know, the product isn't great right now, and I was annoyed because I said the main event of last night, Monday night even, between Murphy and Drew McIntyre was actually really good. But it's just the overall product's not great and doesn't really give you a reason to stick around, and it's just not the same without a crowd.
Yeah, it's boring. It's boring, lol, and it's not much fun to watch. So.
Exactly. Right, let's move on and talk a little bit about Zack Ryder, of course, one of the fatalities on Black Wednesday a few weeks ago. He was a recent guest on Sirius XM's Busted Open Radio and asked about his WWE push back in 2011 and why it fell apart. And he gave a really honest answer, to be honest. He said, I was so young, so naive, so I said, oh, this is part of the plan, you know. I'll wrestle Kane at Backlash next month. I wasn't aware enough or mature enough to knock on the boss's door and say, I'm one of the top merch sellers, I've been busting my ass, why is this happening? So I blame nobody but myself for what went down there. Very interesting take that from Zack, because a lot of people say, oh, you know, WWE ruined him with all the stuff they did with Embrace the Hate with Kane. And he is honest enough to say, you know what, I should have put my foot down and said, yeah, this isn't the right direction for my character, and that's why it all sort of fell apart in 2011.
It's an interesting comment from Zack here, and I kind of appreciate him going, I'm not going to burn any bridges here on my way out. I'm not going to scorched earth this place. Smart move, smart guy. Nothing but respect for him. Yeah, it's a tricky situation, right? Because if you see something going down on air to your character, you probably want to go, hey, Vince, this isn't great. What the hell are you doing? But at the same time, do you stand up to Vince McMahon? How the hell do you do that? How does that interaction go down? But yeah, I always think it's nice to hear a wrestler go, no, hands up, you know, I'm not going to blame others and so forth, regardless of whether or not it was another person's fault. And you can debate that to the cows come home on a number of issues, but it's always refreshing to see stuff like this.
Yeah, and in his defence, it'd be a pretty ballsy move for someone who's just sort of cropped up because of some internet buzz before WWE knew about that sort of thing and got himself popular by basically being a mark for himself on YouTube, to knock on Vince's door and go, yeah, I don't think I should be facing Kane at Backlash. Nah.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff there, isn't there? And it's a pretty interesting interview on a whole, actually. He talks quite a lot about his release from WWE. Check out if you get the chance.
Absolutely. And Andy Murray, is there any more interviews going on at the moment?
Yeah, speaking of an interesting interview, so this is not really a news story, it's more just check this thing out. The Revival, the Revolt, Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler. On Talk is Jericho. Just went out about an hour and a half ago at the time of recording. I actually looked like a tit because I wrote up the news article for our website saying, hey, they're going to be on Talk is Jericho. Published it, and then 5 minutes later, the bloody episode came out, didn't it? So that's a thing. But yeah, definitely something to listen to. I think it's going to be fiery as hell. These things always are. Brody Lee, John Moxley. People get on Jericho's podcast and they shoot bullets. So looking forward to diving into that myself. If you stay locked on the channel for later in the day, I will have a video, 10 things we learned from that podcast later today, sometime later on, after you've all had the chance to process it. And Jamie Kennedy will have the same article on our website as well. So something to keep an eye on, because it's probably going to be a belter.
Oh, I'm going to get the popcorn ready for this one. They are not going to hold back, are they?
No.
It sounds like it's going to be really good. And yeah, make sure you check out, like you said, the article up at WhatCulture.com and Anthony Murray's wonderful video of 10 things we learned, because, yeah, this is going to be, it's going to be tasty.
I can't wait, man. Can't wait.
See hot sauce and the like. Right, let's talk a little bit about Money in the Bank coming up this weekend. Of course, we will be doing a live stream for it, myself and Phil Chambers, who always have the best live streams. You may have seen a clip of us catching a cup on our head once when we did one. We'll be doing a live stream for it on Sunday night, so come and watch the madness unfold with us. And WWE's plans for it have been revealed, or at least exposed a little bit more. It is going to be a combination of live and pre-recorded footage. We all kind of know that all the Money in the Bank ladder match footage, the 2 ladder matches which will be going on simultaneously, brawling through WWE HQ to the top of Titan Tower, of course, they're all recorded. The rumours are that they're going to be spliced throughout the show, which I think would break it up perfectly. But also, it's not just going to be a whole load of pre-recorded stuff. Some of the matches will be live from the Performance Centre. This is coming from PW Insider, corroborating even a recent Fightful report. So yeah, it's going to be a combination of live and pre-recorded stuff. And it's the most unpredictable pay-per-view I've ever seen, I think. And I'm genuinely excited. When we were talking about who's going to do the live stream for it, you could not shut me up.
Should be interesting. Should be fun. 2 big cinematic matches, a couple of hot singles matches here and there. Yeah, I think it's going to be a good pay-per-view, and I'm interested to see how it comes off with your combination of live footage and stuff going on that's been predetermined and pre-taped at WWE HQ. Wonder if they'll have any cash-ins. Wonder if someone will win the briefcase and then cash in live later in the night. They won the briefcase 2 weeks ago, but they're going to cash in tomorrow on Sunday, but it's technically going to be the same night, even though it's 2 weeks apart. That could be fun. That could be weird.
Can I make an appeal? Please, no. I hate it when they burn through one of the briefcases really early on. Like, it's a big pop, you know, when Bayley cashed in on Charlotte Flair, that was exciting. But it's been a while since, especially now we've got 2, since we just had someone walk around with a briefcase constantly teasing a cash in. Hold off on it for a bit. We had what? Was it Bayley and Brock last year?
Bayley and Brock.
Yeah, so I like having that unpredictability for a few months after Money in the Bank, if I'm perfectly honest. You know, even going towards, you know, the latter half of the year, Royal Rumble. Plus, you want a crowd there when someone cashes in, so just hold off on it, please.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Let's have a little bit of patience, in the words of Take That. Last story of the day, not a whole lot to dive into here. Cody tweeting out, advertising Dynamite, promising on Twitter some surprises, some big surprises coming on tonight's episode. So, let's speculate on that for a second. Who's on Talk is Jericho today? Who doesn't have a non-compete? Who's free to do whatever the hell they want? Who's been on Being the Elite a lot lately? I'm not going to tell you who that is. Obviously, you can figure it out yourself, and numpties will go, "WhatCulture said this?" when it doesn't happen. But, speculation is fun to talk about.
It's a nice idea, that, Andy, but it's not like there's a, big tag match going on tonight involving, Matt Hardy, Kenny Omega, and the Sex Gods. If something like that was going on, then maybe I could see it, but no, unless anything like that's happening, it's not going to happen, mate.
Yeah, they're going to Impact.
This Wednesday Night War could be the best one yet, I reckon. I
best one
genuinely
ever?
believe that. I mean,
okay.
it's. I don't want to say best one ever because it's not the same without a crowd. But on paper, we've got what? Finn Balor returning, potentially Karrion Kross debuting properly, 2 World Championship matches on NXT, and then over on AEW, the return of Jon Moxley, the return of MJF, that tag match. There's no doubt something I've completely forgotten here.
Yeah.
There's so much good stuff happening tonight. Both shows are going to be great, and I'm going to ask you a question about them in a second, whilst we transition into our Twitter questions at WhatCulture WWE. Of course, if you want to get in touch with us. First question today comes from regular contributor Jake.
Legend.
Who says, could getting thrown off Titan Tower be a roundabout way to write off a superstar who doesn't want to continue to work during this global situation? Maybe someone like Daniel Bryan, who's previously expressed concerns about working.
Yeah, it could be. It's definitely something that, I mean, they're definitely doing this spot, aren't they? Like, it's totally happening. But yeah, no, that would be an effective way to be able to get a guy like Daniel Bryan off TV without giving him the Roman Reigns treatment, just going, this guy doesn't exist for now. Yeah, I think, it depends how they do it, as always, but I think it could work, yeah.
Yeah, by the way, anyone saying, you just keep pitching this fantasy booking situation of someone getting thrown off the roof. Look, I don't know if I want to see it or not, but it's not our fault. WWE keep talking about this. AJ Styles said, I might chuck Aleister Black or Rey Mysterio off. Rey Mysterio said one wrong move and I'm dead, basically. It's them putting this thought into our heads, and I can absolutely see it happening. Yeah. Especially with the reports of Vince going, I'll show you how to take this sort of bump. It's 7 stories, Vince. What are you doing?
It's happening.
Yeah, right. A question we've had quite a lot, but I believe it's most relevant right now. Next, from Cody Miller. Andy Murray, could this be the week AEW beats Raw in viewership?
No, absolutely not, sadly. AEW, let's look at the numbers. AEW is scoring like 600,000 viewers a week. Raw is still scoring 1 million more than that, even on this all-time low. There's not a snowball. I mean this with the utmost respect, and thank you for sending your question, but there is no chance in hell you will see a snowball in hell before that happens this week. Maybe 2 or 3 years down the line if AEW keeps progressing and so forth, but right now it's too big a gap.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you there, Andy. Like, as we see Raw's viewership dwindling, people seem to think, well, there you go then, all AEW needs to do is put on a few more viewers, but it's harder now more than ever to do that, because the viewership, yes, arguably is dwindling because Raw's product isn't as good as AEW Dynamite, but also people are just indifferent towards wrestling right now. And I know it's not quite the same empty arena that WWE takes place in, but it's 10 wrestlers effectively around ringside. Yeah. Andy Murray, let's complete the sentence. If AEW beats Raw in the ratings this week, I will grow a full head of hair. I'll grow a moustache. I'll grow a moustache. And my wife will hate me even more so than being stuck with me in lockdown with my awful puns. Final question today comes from Path Satterwayne, regular contributor. This is an interesting one. We've had a variation of this question quite a lot recently. Path says, I know this is too much, but could all this be a way to get support behind Roman for a rivalry with heel authority champion Braun Strowman and the McMahons? What Path is saying there, Andy Murray, is the question, is Roman Reigns being erased from history a work?
I think there's a very strong chance that it is. Yeah, I mean, it's all fun to get the little tinfoil hat on and call conspiracy and stuff, but I think that they might see this as a way of, trying to build towards something in the future. I don't think it's a good way of doing it, don't get me wrong. Like, why would you remove him from that WrestleMania footage? That was just straight up weird. But yeah, I mean, there is a chance. Maybe they're just trying to let people forget about the guy so that when he does come back, maybe he gets a bigger response. But I still think it's dumb, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, I think only really dedicated wrestling fans went, hang on, wasn't Roman Reigns in this WrestleMania main event? The casual fans just went, oh yeah, this was when Seth Rollins cashed in. I remember Brock Lesnar, I think, was there. I saw someone else comment, I do apologise, I haven't got the tweet up, but they were saying how, Roman Reigns being off, obviously, he should be off, he's immunocompromised, but if everything clears up and they don't immediately bring him back, of course, he's going to become a dad yet again with I was going to say 2 twins. What else is there going to be, Adam? But there's twins on the way again. Congratulations to him and his partner. But someone said by the time things have potentially cleared up and those twins have been born, it could be right around Royal Rumble season. And I think that may be what they're going for.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Let's see what happens. I just want to see the guy back, but only when it's healthy. Get that vaccine.
In summary, in the words of Marshall Mathers, nowadays, everybody want to talk like they got something to say, but nothing comes out when they move their lips. Just a bunch of gibberish, and mother flippers act like they forgot about Reigns.
There we go.
Nailed that.
Let's
move on to today's and finally. And, of course, it's Wednesday, so what does that mean? It's Raven Day! I wanted to point out this tweet from Raven because I just adored it. If you've ever wondered why Raven was on the cover of WCW NWO Revenge alongside Hogan, Nash and Goldberg, Raven answered that on Twitter last night. He says, to answer the burning question, hopefully not in your crotches, of why I was on the cover of the video game, the guy who created the game told me later that I was his favourite wrestler, so he put me on the cover. And also the Illuminati were recruiting me. So there's your answer.
What a guy. Raven's awesome. I'd love to see Raven back in some wrestling company in some capacity, man. He's so much to offer. He's such a fun guy.
He was teased as the Exalted one, wasn't he, for a while?
Yeah, they had him at ringside, like sitting there, and it was like, ooh, it's Raven and stuff. They knew what they were doing, though, didn't they? Those little rascals.
You little scams. Right, let us know your thoughts on that and all of today's news stories in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling on either iTunes, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts from. For daily wrestling podcasts, myself and the Dadley Boys will be discussing the Raw ratings situation a little bit later on today. And, of course, previewing the massive Wednesday Night War. And there will be something very special today, live at 4 p.m. here on YouTube. 4 p.m. BST, involving your favourite presenter. No, Simon Miller. 4 p.m. That's all I can say. As long as there's no technical problems, it's going to be going ahead. 4 p.m. Do not miss that. You may see more stuff about that on Twitter later on today. Speaking of Twitter, let us know your thoughts. Twitter questions at WhatCultureWWE. Watch there. Follow both of us. You can follow Andy Murray at
Andy H Murray. The H stands for how does my upstairs neighbour think it's acceptable to listen to rancid EDM music at 7:30 in the morning?
Oh no, Andy. Although I was listening to Bomb Funk MC's Freestyler in the shower. There's a thought for you for the rest of the day. And a mental image. You can follow me on Twitter at Adam Wilborn. Follow us all at WhatCultureWWE. My thanks to Andy Murray. Thank you for watching, and we will see you soon.